A lot of the assumptions regarding the anime industry come from common sense ideas. High quality animation should cost more money. Anime should be made on computers these days because it's quicker, and adaptations should have the goal of promoting the source material. This myth is a popular one, and it even has its own page on r/anime as an FAQ regarding why a show might not have a sequel. It states, quote, "Most anime are adaptations of various manga, light novels, and visual novels. They are produced to boost sales of the source material." It also says, if no boost in sale occurs for the source material, the adaptation isn't doing its original job. But the anime industry has a habit of complicating things, and because of the production committee system, an anime doesn't just serve one purpose. And sometimes the anime staff really couldn't care whether you buy the original source or not, which means that this myth is busted. But let's talk about the production circumstances here and try and express what actually constitutes as a success for an adaptation. There are a million different ways an anime gets greenlit, and a million different purposes for it to exist. In this way, every case has an exception, and there's always going to be a caveat. So in the interest of not having to say, but, after every sentence, this video is largely going to be a generalization. With that said, let's start with how an anime adaptation gets made in the first place. It often starts with a pitch from a major anime company, like Aniplex or Toho. A producer from that company will approach the publishers of a popular property and say something like, "Here's our plan, here's our proposed schedule and budget, what do you think?" If it's approved, then comes the funding stage, where they will contact companies across the entire industry asking them to invest in the show. These can involve merchandisers, tourism companies, music companies, international streamers, and the publisher themselves. The idea that in most cases companies other than the publisher are investing more into an adaptation might seem weird. You might wonder why they don't just make an original instead, and some do. But the benefit of investing in an adaptation is twofold. Firstly, it's a safer investment, since if the source material is popular, there's a good chance the adaptation will be too. Secondly, there aren't many opportunities to invest in someone else's manga. However, if it becomes an anime, it becomes a way to invest in someone else's property and capitalize on it. Anime costs millions of dollars to produce, so to mitigate the risk of a financial flop, each company puts in a bit of money and then can claim to have a bit of ownership. In return, they can use the property for their own means within reason and earn money back through revenue. This is a massive oversimplification, but it gets the idea across. Sometimes the publisher will be the one to start the project, and sometimes an anime studio will do it themselves, often with the help of an independent producer. But let's move on to why. Why do these companies invest in anime? And therefore, what is the purpose of the anime? In the cases of the big boys, the Aniplexes, the Tohos, the Warner Brothers, they are anime production companies. They often invest the most and get the most back. They want the anime and everything surrounding it to be successful. In the case of the publisher, they want to make money back from the show, but they're also wanting to have some creative control and make sure that the anime is representing their property well. Merchandise creators want the license to produce merchandise for the show. Therefore, they don't need to fight for licensing rights after the show airs, and by investing, they can get a head start on all of the things that will make for great products. Also, as we've heard many stories of, they can influence the direction of the show to make sure there's something to sell from it. This is similar to the reasons that overseas companies would want to be on the production committee. It's a show of faith that pays off by not having to bid for streaming rights afterwards, and often by being on that production committee, there's more opportunities for marketing. Music companies want anything that can be slapped on a CD. They want character songs, they want soundtrack releases, but more than anything, they want their artists performing the opening and ending songs for the show. This is why most of the shows Lisa, an artist signed to Sony Music, sings for, are Aniplex shows, a company also owned by Sony Music. Anime studios will also sometimes sit on the committee. They can only receive royalties from the success of a show if they invest in it. But another reason why they're here is so that they can have the power to control the schedule. This way they can't be pushed around by the other companies as easily, and they can try to maintain better quality and conditions. To put it simply, if you want to have a say in the direction of the show and all of the opportunities that surround it, you're going to want to be on that production committee. But all of these companies aren't just investing in the anime, they're investing in the anime brand, which can be expanded into a whole bunch of things like events, merchandise and collaborations. And this includes adaptations as well. Merchandise created from the anime is labelled distinctly from merch created for the original source. For instance, items that are a part of the anime are often marked with a copyright that looks something like this. First it credits the original author and publisher, then it usually states the name of the production committee. This copyright is essentially a symbol of belonging. Whatever it's on is with permission from the copyright owner. So if you look at this figure of a sexy Joker from Persona 5, they would have paid a licensing fee to Atlus and Sega. Except, psych, this isn't Joker from Persona 5. This, obviously, is Ren Amamiya from Persona 5 the animation, and therefore the licensing fee would have been paid to the production committee, which also includes Aniplex as well as Sega and Atlus. The same is the case for the Berserk and the Brand of the Hawk game. That's not a Berserk game, that's a Berserk anime game, because Koei Tecmo was on the production committee and got the rights. So it's not just the anime itself, but a network of merchandise, music, overseas licensing deals and events that all funnel in to the success of this anime brand and the production committee that invested in it. There are an infinite amount of ways that an anime can get made, and an infinite amount of reasons for it to exist. So there's cases like the first couple seasons of Log Horizon, where it was solely funded by the NHK. In that case, the light novel publishers had little to do with the final product, and the purpose of the anime had absolutely nothing to do with selling those original volumes. And at the same time, while it's far from common, there are cases where the original publisher will be the sole funding body. Rage of Bahamut, Virgin Soul, and Isekai Quartet were both solely funded by their publishers. But even then, the goal isn't just to sell the original works, it's about expanding these brands beyond their original forms. Because anime doesn't just exist to promote its source material. To put it simply, it exists because people want to watch and support anime in the same way that people want to watch and support film adaptations. If they just wanted something to promote the original work, they'd do a little animated trailer like this or something. While Gundam shows want to push merch, idol shows want to push CDs, and streaming exclusives want to push subscriptions, ultimately, anime exists to be watched. And if you want to pat the corporate investors on the back afterwards by spending money in their industries, go right ahead. Capitalism ho! Thanks for watching The Canipa Effect. I'd like to give a special thanks to all of these viewers for supporting the channel. In particular, I'd like to thank Austin Hardwick, Dedameat, Frogkun, Jacob Bosley, JR Pictures, Mike Tamborelli, My Own Mother, Nolan Soga, Shishi, and That Yuan Artist. If you'd like to support more animation spotlights, please visit patreon.com/thecanipaeffect.